And salutations. Welcome to this, the first of many Artificial Intelligence Power Grid AIPG AMAs. The total length of today's AMA is projected for around 30 minutes of time. Today's AMA will center around a Q&A. Pre-submit questions will be answered one by one, after which time the floor will be opened for questions from the public. If you plan to ask a question via speech, please make sure your Discord audio and input settings are correct before doing so. Questions will also be accepted via the text chat associated with this Discord stage. Look for the chat bubble on your screen to locate it and participate there. To those of you watching live on the AIPG Discord, thank you for your attendance. Please keep your chat participation and questions on topic and follow Discord terms of service and server rules. To those of you watching the recording of this AMA later on YouTube, thank you for your attendance and your attention. AI Power Grid strives to stake an ambitious claim of substantial territory in the ever-expanding sea of AI development amidst its global implementation. We look forward to your company on this endeavor. I am today's host. I am a moderator on the AIPG Discord where I go by Switchgrass. And without further ado, I will now begin today's AMA. Question 1, asked by Bizarov. Question: can you talk more about the AIPG project, what it will be used for, and how it will be useful? Just lower the level of explanation a little so that it is understood and interesting to more people and to increase the audience. Similar questions were asked by others. They are as followed. Fake name followed by numbers asked. Honestly, I don't know what I bought. Can someone explain it to me in very simple terms that my grandma would understand? And El Prof asked, since it's sometimes tricky for folks to get what the project's about and what it wants to achieve, do you have a quick, catchy explanation without using buzzwords, easy and understandable language? We have 2 slides that will accompany to this, and let's see if one of our team members will answer.
Yeah, so I can answer that. Hey guys, you might know me from the webinars. But basically here, this diagram shows a simplification of the current proof of work algorithm, where there's a bunch of miners and each of them are running a compile hashing algorithm. And this can be on different GPUs, whether it's RX 5700 XT or RTX 3090. However, there's a slight change in what we're trying to do with the proof of useful work. And if you just go to the next slide, so the difference is quite subtle. Instead of the main issue with the proof of work is that the work that the GPUs are doing are not very useful. It's just solving imaginary problems. So we are essentially replacing that to handle AI workloads. And so with those same GPUs, the one person could run a Llama 2 13 billion model or Mixtral LLM on 2 GPUs, since that would require more resources. But if they do have smaller graphics cards like the RTX 3060, then they can still run image generation models like Stable Diffusion. So it's a small change where we're swapping the Kapow algorithm with AI workloads, but it does have big implications and it will be quite valuable to the open source and AI community. Yeah.
So on the subject of proof of work, when you mentioned GPUs are kind of performing token work, that would be like when you're in a pool and it's submitting irregular shares. Those are not genuine work, right? Those are just similar looking shares, jobs that measure your hash rate until ultimately you do find a block collectively, right? So that's like the majority of what a GPU mining does is just useless until it finds a block. Whereas with proof of useful work, it's always doing actual work, right?
That is correct. And I just want to point out as well that a big piece to our project is that we're taking the emissions, from our blockchain, and we're using those to incentivize node operators to host these AI workloads that would have otherwise been hosted by, data scientists, researchers, devs that are interested in open source AI. And open source AI is such a wonderful, diverse field that just keeps improving by the week. And we're just setting ourselves up in a great position to incentivize people to host these kinds of workloads and bring them to the general public at large.
That sounds great. I'm going to move on to the next question, which is from OKA Death. Okadeath. The question is how the project it works. The nodes run the LLM models.
Yes. So nodes will in fact run LLM models. Nodes will run things like text and image generation. So think LLM models, stable diffusion for image generation. And then we're also looking at having lower end nodes, like were mentioned earlier, with like 3600 RTXs, maybe would run something like external tools that the LLMs could call upon, like a website scraper or some kind of vision tool to decode an image, that sort of thing. So just think like custom workflows with LLMs and tools that they can call upon to interact with the internet or the real world or external data, that sort of thing.
All right. Now, the next question from JM. It is who's who on the team? Like, who's the funny one? I feel like Raz might be the grumpy one. What's the team's origin story? How did they come together? And what's the background to the project?
Yeah, so at least half the guys on the team I've known for well over a year. A few of the guys I've known for decades. I've known Raz for over 10 years. We met a long time ago, kind of trading. We were doing kind of algorithmic trading and other things, and we've kind of became friends over the years and known each other. He's a great guy. I would say he's more the snarky one than the grumpy one, actually. But I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has any labels for anybody on the team. I know I've been getting some flack lately, but I don't want to label myself.
Yeah, for fun side project, anyone who wants to create a fake origin story can ask the AI in our Discord to do so.
And I can expound too on the like the AI origins. So Windude and Hyphen, I've known for about a year, a little over a year. I started building AI rigs very actively, about a year and a half ago, year ago. And I met Hyphen and Windude, and we started messing around with LLM models and image generation and that sort of thing. And all the guys on my team, at least on the dev side, have a lot of passion around open source AI, and I think that's a big part of what drives us and what's going to lead to our success.
Yeah, you guys are definitely passionate about the project. We'll go on to the next question, which is from Sev. Why is there no public information about team members? Or maybe I can't find it. Knowing the team's real expertise from some sources like LinkedIn could increase investors' interest.
So we do plan on sharing more about the team members. I know that's kind of an area we need to improve upon. So right now on the website, we're crafting a team section that's going to detail all the team members. I mean, we're not giving out real names yet, but we're going to detail, everyone's experience, everyone's role in the project. And then at some point, once we have a working product, we will definitely dox. I think right now we just have people on the team that don't want to risk, their careers and such, because we have some high profile devs and everything that need to maintain that. But I think if we have a working product and we have kind of a leg to stand on in the market as far as something in the wild, then we're definitely going to dox. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and there is some risk associated with doxing. Many of you may not know, but the team has already been the target of 2 death threats just due to short-term fluctuations in value. So, more to come in that regard.
Hopefully that was just all full of hot air. But yeah, there were some crazy threats made in the Discord.
Yeah. Next question is from Mercedes73. The question is, why is AIPG not on CoinMarketCap?
So I did reach out to CoinMarketCap actually before the launch in November of last year, and I filled out their form and everything that needed to be done. I fear that I reached out too early because we didn't have a lot of info to enter at the time. So I did go back early on, maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and I updated all everything in the form for CoinMarketCap. I've bugged them numerous times, but every time they just respond with the option of paying their $5,000 fast track fee, and I think they just kind of wait wait people out and hope that they'll pay that fee. And we have the funds, but I hate to give the funds to almost an extortionist. I feel like they're trying to extort the money from people, but I also understand they get a lot of small coins, probably hundreds a month or a week, that are trying to get listed on CMC, and they need some way to filter out uh, the worthless coins and such. So I get it. There's two sides to it, but we're gonna keep bugging them, and we may end up paying the fee at some point. I know we just got to figure that out.
So it'll happen in due time. I'm looking forward to that myself. The next question is from Glob2024, who asks, can the team add a token burning mechanism to ease the selling pressure resulting from miners and motivate their owners?
I mean, we could add a burning mechanism, but I don't think that's going to achieve what what you would want it to achieve. I mean, we could sit and theorize about selling pressure and stuff all day and tweak things to try to change it, but I think ultimately it's going to be our technology that increases investor sentiment and the price. So I mean, in a way, this is going to look like a godsend if we deliver, because the prices are so good right now compared to the potential if we deliver meaningful, AI technology to market. That's how I feel about it.
I definitely agree. The next question comes from Glob2024 and Marlu. What is the detailed marketing plan for the project? Will there be any partnerships?
Yeah, definitely. So we're actually always looking for partnerships, especially in the open source AI sphere. As far as like corporate partnerships, I don't think so. I mean, maybe once we have the technology, we have reliable pro like API services, we would definitely entertain that if a corporation or some entity wanted to use our services on a larger scale. So that's certainly in the cards, and I could see that being a possibility given the services that we're offering and given the fact that we're very fluid with the technology, and we'll release things as they advance and keep people interested.
The next question comes from two people, Megan, spelled with an H, and Seal Clubber. The question is, ETA on the release of the web wallet. Will the web wallet be compatible with Qt Seeds?
Yeah, so the web wallet came out a couple weeks ago, and it is in fact compatible with seeds from your Qt wallet. You just go to the access, I believe it's access my wallet, and then enter in the seed into the field that says XPRIV on the web wallet page.
The next question is asked by someone who goes by Time. When will the mobile app be released?
So
And looks like another question similar. Will AIPG be supported on any hard wallets, i.e. SafePal?
Yeah, so we're not going to do a mobile wallet. We don't want the distraction and the burden of maintaining app store listings and all that. Mobile users can now use the web wallet just fine. So I would direct any mobile user to use the web wallet. As far as hard wallets, so we do have Trezor Blockbook compatibility. So we set up basically the backend for how their device talks to blockchains. We do not have Trezor compatibility as far as their hardware device, but we do have the block books, which is the first step in compatibility. So I think now we would just have to engage with Trezor or whomever, and then we can get integrated into a platform. But that is something we are looking at, definitely.
Yeah, I've been suggesting that folks looking for a mobile app also use the web wallet. It's a good walking wallet. You can bring it up on your phone's browser.
And in a way, the paper wallet is even more secure than the Trezor, depending on where you store it and how you keep it around. The Trezor adds a lot of layers, on top of what the web wallet accomplishes, or I'm sorry, the paper wallet. So just keep that in mind too.
Yeah, you guys have added a lot of functionality. So the next question is also from Time. When will other exchanges be listed?
Yeah, so we're in talks with other exchanges right now. We've got a couple exchanges that we're really focusing on, MEXC being one of them. So we're definitely working on that, and we are going to be able to share some news probably within the next few weeks.
The next question is from Switchgrass, me. Will AIPG develop any custom LLM?
Yeah, so we already have, we fine-tuned our own LLM models. We've also done some quantized training and things like that. I think we've fine-tuned an LLM on, our white paper and all the info we have about the project. I've done some stuff in the past, fine-tuning LLMs over the last year or two. So that's definitely something we plan on doing, especially with image generation. We're going to have our own LoRa's and everything for that. And we're definitely going to also offer training and fine-tuning services at some point to people. Maybe just fine-tuning services. That's definitely in the cards. I don't know about training. What training over a distributed network has a lot of drawbacks and things, but I definitely think we can offer fine-tuning as well, just to the general public. Hopefully that answers the question.
Definitely does. Next question is from Isn't That Legal? And also a similar question by Cleopatra. The first version is what makes AIPG different from any others AI coin like we know is in market example XNA, DNX, Caspa, Tau. Second version of that question is it possible to make a spreadsheet with all the future features of the project in it so people can see the differences to other AI crypto projects, so difference between them?
Yeah, so I've already explained kind of what we're doing, what our mission is. I looked at these few projects mentioned. The only one that's really adjacent to us is BitTensor, and BitTensor is providing more of a broad ecosystem where data scientists and developers and machine learning scientists can come and build upon. So they're more of like a raw operating system for machine learning and AI that people can build things on. But so we're taking that to the next level, and we're like kind of being the middleman. We're curating, what we think people want to use and adapting with the market since open source AI and AI in general is such a fast moving target. We're kind of acting as the middleman to curate the experience and curate the tools and the technology that people have access to, and we're also providing the backend network of nodes that are powering, those models and tools.
All right. Next question is from Local Ghost. When can we expect NFT marketplace?
Ivan, did you want to add to that last question at all? Okay. So NFT marketplace is slated for the end of March. We should have a working product. It may be in beta stages, but we should have something out by then. So it's going to be an AI image generation portal and gallery where you can go and view others' generations. You can generate your own images. You can store your generations. You can mint your generations as an asset on our blockchain. And then that image or AI art generation can be traded or not. I mean, you can keep it private or you can put it on the market. People can make offers on it, that sort of thing. So it's going to be basically an AI art gallery and NFT marketplace.
I'm really looking forward to that myself. Next question is from Bisarov. What will be the necessary hardware requirements to create an AIPG node beside 10,000 coins?
So the fact he's bringing up 10,000 coins makes me think he's talking about a validator node. So just to clarify, the compute nodes that are doing the bulk of the work aren't going to require a stake. It's going to be just like a mining rig. All you need to do is have the hardware, and then you can show up on the network and you can participate. But as far as the validator nodes, those will require a stake, most likely 10,000 AIPG. And they're gonna cost thousands of dollars, maybe a couple thousand when we release them, something like that. So 10,000 is still a good number. And those nodes will validate transactions on the network the same way that miners do now. They'll also validate AI workloads, so that they will be dispatching and receiving AI workloads in order to route them and then to validate and track them for rewards. So yes, those validator nodes will still require a stake of something around 10,000 AIPG. The validator nodes right now may require a GPU in them as well, because to be a validator, we may have to run an LLM model in between that's actually doing the validation. So we're actually going to be validating AI with AI, if that makes sense. So the validator nodes may need to run a small, maybe even quantized model on a video card or GPU with a low amount of VRAM in order to do some of the validation. And maybe we do have like a limited validator node role where they don't have a GPU and they just do more transaction validation and low level AI workload validation. But that's yet to be decided.
Okay. So the next question is also from Bizarov. What nodes will there be? For example, those that are provided only with coins or others with more specific hardware, such as a video card with a certain video memory or a processor RAM memory. SSD will also matter. I know you touched on some of that already.
Someone asked in the chat that, or said that I said if we have a final product. If I did say that, I didn't mean to. I mean, we already have a working prototype, so definitely was an accident. So the question here is, what will the nodes be, for example, provided only with the coins or other more specific hardware, such as video cards, certain video memory processor? I guess I don't necessarily understand the question. What nodes will there be? Oh, okay.
Pretty
So
broad.
I think
Seems
he's
like you
asking
touched
for.
on everything but SSD, RAM.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So the two roles right now for nodes are validator node that requires a stake. It does validations of transactions and AI compute, and then there's an AI compute node that does the actual AI compute work, and those will not require a stake. SSD and a high amount of RAM will probably be beneficial, and will receive a rig with that type of setup would receive more rewards over a rig with a mechanical drive and less RAM. The RAM is important too because we may be provisioning LLMs remotely. So if the network has a need for a certain model, if there's a bunch of users requesting to use a certain model, then we'll have to call out to the nodes to provision that model. So say you have, 64 gigs of RAM, you could hold the top 3 popular models or something in your system RAM, and then when it's time for you to provision that model into your VRAM, you could easily move it from system RAM quickly into your VRAM, and that would bring on your rewards faster than somebody that's having to, pull that model from disk and suffer all that I/O and everything that comes along with that. So.
All right. The next question looks like it was asked by 4 different people and boiled down to one. Either it's one question, but it's 4 questions. So let me just work through it. This is from Jonah, Kix, Jerome, and Pine. How do you get money from nodes? When will the transition to POUW come? When will staking come? What will be the APY? Let's take it from the top.
Yeah, so node operators will be receiving AIPG from operating the nodes and providing to the network. And then I guess they're probably asking about validator nodes due to the APY comment. So validator nodes will receive reward for validating transactions and AI compute work. And that is coming in Q3. So proof of useful work should be fully rolled out sometime in Q3. Staking is going to come in the next 2 months. And we're going to roll out staking nodes that are validating on-chain transactions, and then those nodes will then be upgraded to AI compute validators as well at some point in the future. But the staking and the transaction verifying are coming first, so we will have staking nodes within the next couple months. Hopefully that answers the question.
Sounds like it does. The next question is from Local Ghost, who asks, what is the one thing that the team will be proud of achieving in the near future?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely bridging the gap between the community and then open source AI technology, because I think it's great. I think the technology is wonderful and more people need to be exposed to it. And I think it's just going to keep getting better. We're putting ourselves in a really good position. We put ourselves in a position where we're going to be right place and right time as the technology matures, and we're building on top of it. So that's the thing I'm proud of. I'm sure other team members have other answers to that question, but that's mine.
The next question is from Marlu. Have you started developing WAIPG?
Oh, can you add hyphen back as a speaker? So wrapping. We're talking about wrapping here. What wrapping is we would take AIPG, and then people could submit their AIPG to our wrapping bridge, and then it would wrap it into an ERC20 EVM compatible token that could be transacted with on the Ethereum blockchain. And most of you know the convenience that comes with that. A lot of people like Ethereum layer 2 coins and stuff nowadays because of the ease of use. MetaMask, signing transactions in your browser, that sort of thing. But we would use it probably for the smart contract functionality you get a lot of flexibility, with Solidity and EVM as far as smart contracts. We'd be able to do more than we can with our current layer 1 blockchain. But it's yet to be decided. We may do a community vote on this and see if the community wants us to either wrap or release an ERC20 token. But for now, we're just trying to leverage our layer 1 blockchain to the best of its ability. But this is always in discussion internally, wrapping or creating some kind of bridge to the to other blockchains such as Ethereum or Solana, that sort of thing, smart chains.
The next question is from Jem. Will liquid pool systems be implemented, and will there be any marketing mechanisms, such as completing tasks on social networks in order to receive some kind of reward like NFT?
Does anybody know what a liquid pool system is? I'm drawing a blank. So, I mean, as far as liquid pool, I mean, there are probably going to be validator pools where, if you don't have 10,000 AIPG, you could bring 2,000 to the table, and then a node operator could combine your funds with others, operate the validator node for you, take a cut just like a mining pool operator, and then distribute the rewards to the people that are contributing to the pool or the node operators. So maybe that answers that question. As far as like the promotional stuff, completing tasks on social network, rewards, maybe, I don't know, it's not something we've talked about much, but I could see definitely doing like NFT giveaways, or we could give away exclusive minting ability to individuals and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see an art contest once we have the NFT marketplace up.
Win Uniswap. So we just talked about that with the wrapping. So yeah.
Next question's from Martin. How do you intend to keep up to date with new advances in terms of image generation? Not to mention video generation. He goes on. He says, do you intend to make available a large number of models? Again, easily downloadable from, what is that, Civit AI, LoRa's embedding, etc. I've tested the Discord bot quite a bit, and I'm a long way off in terms of results compared to what I can do on my computer with A111 or similar, mainly because of the lack of models LoRa in painting and upscales. There are already plenty of great online generators like Invoke AI, not to mention Midjourney, packed with functions, models, etc. Will you be able to catch up with the competition?
Yeah, so internally, our team are always testing new technologies that are coming out in open source AI. All the generative stuff that's been coming out lately, the new stable diffusions, that sort of thing. We're always checking it out, trying to find out what's good and if we can implement it. So we're always keeping up with the technology, and we are creating our own models. We do plan on we're going to curate a lot of the popular models as far as image generation. Now, I don't think it's going to be something at first where someone can bring any model from Civit AI and put it on the network. It may be eventually, but I think at first we're going to be curating the models. So we're going to be finding the ones we like the best, the community likes the best, and then adding those to the network. So yeah, we are always trying to keep up with that, and this is a very fast-moving industry. So that's a big part of our job, is keeping up with the technology and then adapting it or bridging it to the user base.
I can probably add to that as well. Can you guys hear me better this time?
Yes.
And as far as the competition, I mean, we don't have any real direct competition right now. So I don't know how to answer that question. There are other AI coins, but they're not doing anything like what we're doing.
Yeah, so as far as new advances in technology goes and models,
That I'm aware of.
we're going to be able to run pretty much any model that users want based on demand, as long as like there is enough demand to run it, because we don't want to have a model that nobody's using and then have that on someone's GPU. But all of those advances, as the industry advance, should advance with the stuff that customers will be able to use on our network, if that makes sense. So you could just load up a model and then run that. This guy, what he's doing on his computer, he would be able to do on our network the models that he mentioned.
All right, the next question comes from Vidi, who asks, Does the implementation of a free text-to-video AI generator fall within the project's long-term vision and scope?
Yes. So we are targeting video generation. I haven't really said much about that, but we're definitely targeting video generation, and that may even be part of the AI art gallery. So we may allow short videos to be minted as well. And it looks like Stability AI is coming out with a new video generation method, and this Sora from OpenAI has really heated things up, and I think it's really stoking competition amongst open source AI video generation, trying to catch up with that, because you got to admit that's the OpenAI's new video generation looks really amazing.
So if photo and video generated NFTs may exist, I imagine that audio ones could also exist. Is that right?
So there is a field of like AI generated music and that sort of thing, and that's definitely something we would consider if it gets bigger, and it's something that looks interesting to us for sure.
All right. More functionality. The next question also comes from VD. It has come to my attention that there is a recent but ongoing backlash against the AI tool Gemini from Google due to, apparently, being programmed in such a way that forces diversity in their image generations. Also, for prompts for which it would not even make much sense, example, an English king from the 14th century and generating images with Black and Asian representation. He says, I would argue that decentralization ultimately implies freedom from the big players and autonomy. So, to what extent are you guys going to control the responses or images we get from your AI tools? What are the limits on their capabilities you plan on implementing as developers? Would you market your AI model as a more decentralized, unbiased, and less nerfed option than those currently available?
Yes, and that's the beauty of open source AI. And the more things like this that happen with Gemini and the diversity, the more people will be driven to open source AI, because it does imply freedom. And most open models are uncensored. And if they're not, you can easily make them uncensored in a lot of cases. So I think that's a big selling point for our product. But on the flip side, we don't want to leave it totally uncensored. We don't want people writing like the next best new version of the Anarchist Cookbook with our AI or something, or there's a lot of scenarios we want to try to avoid, but it's a fine line between seeming like we're over censoring things, uh, or letting it be too uncensored, because we don't want to let it be totally open, I don't think. But that's something we're talking about and working on internally for sure. It's a big point.
All right.
But definitely with bias. I mean, it's not going to be biased. We're not going to allow any propaganda or bias or anything like that. That's a big issue with AI, especially AI, being ran by corporate entities. So that we're definitely going to avoid that at all costs. But again, we're just presenting open source models that were created by developers. We're not really going to interject any of our bias or anything into models. So
Yeah, to add to that really quickly, Google, in the situation that this guy described, did a lot of work on fine tuning for that
next question.
outcome, and open source models don't have that bias most of the time.
All right. I think that's the last question. Yep, that's the last question. I'm going to flip back to the very first slide here, and we will open the floor to questions from our audience. All right. So you guys can still see that slideshow. I'm going to scroll up in the chat and look for questions. Okay, the first one comes from Chaos 2.0, who asks a question for later. Any plans to allow Tangem wallet to allow AIPG to be stored? I know that was touched on already.
So what is Tangent Wallet like a multi-coin wallet, or is it a hardware wallet? I'm not super familiar. Does anybody on the team know?
I've heard of it. I'm not familiar with the inner workings of it. Chaos 2.0 says it is a hardware card-based wallet
Okay.
Is it multi-coin chaos?
We'll look. Yeah, I'm sure if it's hardware, it's multi-coin. We'll look
Yep.
at it. I know we were just kind of targeting Trezor at first, but I'll look at that one. I know Ledger had some recent issues, didn't they? Some kind of hack or something.
Yeah, there are a lot of fake ledger for sale on the internet. People may not buy them from the official source, in which case they get one preloaded with malware that will steal everything from them. So
Or not only that, I know people can get the seed and then resell it too, right? And hope the new owner doesn't like reset it or something. That's a big thing.
yeah, it's pretty rough. But so looks like the answer to your question there, Chaos, is that we'll look into Tangent.
Yep.
The next question comes from Mr. Jai Gaming, who asked, how would validator nodes be different from people mining?
So validator nodes are very different from people mining. I mean, if you're familiar with like the miner, so if you're familiar with any other coins that have miners and master nodes, it's going to be that same kind of dichotomy with validator nodes and AI compute nodes. So we're going to have the validator nodes that are staking, and then the AI compute nodes that are doing the AI compute work.
Okay, the next question was from Vasil, who references a slip of the tongue earlier. Says, you said a couple of times, if we have a final product, what is the biggest obstacle that could prevent you to achieve it? Is it the development work, or is it more make it adopted by business clients?
I think the biggest challenge would probably be adoption. As far as the development, we have a pretty clear path, and like I said, a working prototype. We don't foresee any huge challenges. I think the adoption is going to be the most challenging part. But hopefully, with the popularity of AI and like the sentiment from the censoring and stuff of the corporate AI, hopefully that drives more people into the open source AI and creates more curiosity around that.
I definitely think it will. And the big distinction on the word if was it just slip of the tongue. The next question is from Big Dog Dad, who asked, regarding the algorithm fork or change, will there be something in-house developed, or is it going to be an already existing algorithm?
So the hashing algorithm is going away. So the hashing algorithm is Kapal. That's used for the proof of work. We will no longer be doing proof of work. So in effect, it'll be our own quote algorithm or our own binaries that are running behind the scenes and handling all the routing and distribution of the AI workloads and the tracking and rewarding. So we're basically replacing the hashing algorithm with the AI workload network.
The next question. All right, Seven, who asks, what is the past experience of the team members?
Okay, so the AI devs on the team have an extensive background with Python, AI, ML sort of things. I've been in IT and development work for about 20 years myself. I know, Raz even has been in real life. He's been in a high level management position for a number of years. So we're all professionals. We're all professionals that have been in our jobs for at least 10 plus years. So we've got a real good team of devs. Actually, this is the best team of devs and infrastructure guys I've ever worked with, and I've worked at a number of companies in IT for 20 plus years. So that's saying something.
The next question comes from Jabba, who may have been asking this a little tongue-in-cheek. When Uniswap?
Yeah, Uniswap. So for Uniswap functionality, and that's a swap where you can swap coins with layer 2 coins basically. So we would need to be wrapped or have some kind of token on a layer 2 blockchain in order to be swapped on Uniswap. Right now, you can't go on Uniswap and swap for Raven or Bitcoin, right? Because those don't exist as an ERC20 token.
Yeah, as far as I understand it, everything available through Uniswap is an ERC20 or Ethereum network token.
The alternative would be an atomic swap, and we are trying to get listed on this Cosmos exchange. I think we already submitted everything. It could have even listed us for all I know. I don't think they did though, but they're an atomic swap. I mean, it's kind of strange because an atomic swap is meant for peer-to-peer exchange, but it's so complicated that these middlemen have sprung up. So it's almost like an atomic swap with a middleman. But you're halfway to an exchange at that point, but at least it's not quite an exchange with like market makers and that sort of thing. It's still pretty much two people swapping assets. So we hope to be on that Cosmos atomic swap in the near future, and that will allow people to swap from any coin without necessarily using an exchange, but you still have to use them as the middleman.
So this next question looks like the last one in the text chat. Another one just popped up, but it's from Scary Gary, who asks, what OS operating system will be required, or will the nodes be able to run any OS for the validation nodes or a VM environment they added at the end?
Yeah, so they are going to be running, or the AI compute node binary is going to be run in a Docker container, and pretty much any, I think probably Ubuntu, Debian would be good choices, but I think as long as you can run Docker and have the dependencies, any flavor of Linux would probably be fine.
We have a question in the chat. What are the short-term upcoming months outputs we should expect from the roadmap? Question by Turkish Safu.
Yeah, so the upcoming milestones in the next couple months, we're going to be releasing Proof of Stake. We're also going to be releasing the AI Art NFT gallery. And then we're also going to be recruiting miners to test our AI compute prototype for node operators in the coming weeks. So look out for all that stuff. Oh, I wanted to tell Scary Gary as well. Scary Gary, did you see the new code that came out that allows CUDA to be run or allows AMD GPUs to run CUDA code natively?
Oh boy, I saw that. I'm really hoping that takes off.
Yeah, so we may be able to recruit AMD cards in the future if that works well. I think it's called ZLUDA, ZLUDA. If that takes off and works well, I'm not super optimistic about it, but if it does, that could allow us to bring AMD GPUs onto the network. I was pretty disappointed about that we wouldn't be able to. So
It'll help AIPG reach a wider audience.
yes, and we won't have to leave any of these miners behind that have AMD rigs.
So Mr. Jai Gaming asked, when beta for new mining algo?
I can't give an exact date, but I'm thinking probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks we should have a beta, and we're going to recruit maybe 20 people to run it for us and do some testing.
Okay, not sure what this question from Scary Gary is. It's ROCM.
No, it's not ROCM. It's ZLUDA. Look up that, Scary Gary. ZLUDA.
So
I
next
think it's
question is
maybe some kind of like CUDA emulation or CUDA bridge for AMD cards.
next question from Turkish Safu. Requirements for POS. Minimum is yet to be defined.
So it's probably looking like around 10,000 AIPG, if that's what we're asking. And then you may also be required to have a low-end GPU if you want to validate AI workloads as well.
Okay, I've got someone who raised their hand to speak. It's Berman Zirregar, something like that, 2012. Oh, he took it away. Didn't want to speak. Probably because he couldn't say the name clearly. All right, next question is from Turkish Saf, who says, what requirements for testers or what reward to expect?
Well, as far as reward, we haven't figured that out yet. We will compensate testers, obviously. So that's a good question. As far as the requirements, I would like to have various requirements. So even like a mining rig with 1x risers, like a normal standard mining rig, I would like to even test on something like that. So I'd say the requirements span from a low-end mining rig with like 3060s to a higher-end AI type rig with full PCI bandwidth and 3090s or 3080s, that sort of thing.
All right,
So
so Berman raised his hand again. I'll let you continue before I click him.
no, I was going to say, so most any rig should be able to test with us.
All right, Berman, now's your time. I'm going to invite you, click accept, and you'll be on the stage with us. Nothing yet. Mr. Jai has another question. How long testing
We do not.
Probably asking how long will the testing phase be before the actual POUW rollout.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's asking.
We don't know, but we're on track for our milestones that we stated.
All right, Birdman, look for that. Look for that accept. So see here, hand still raised, or feel free to type your question. Ah, there you are.
Hi, sir. I would like to ask about when AIPG will available on the Android, so we can monitor our core,
So
our wallet.
have you tried the web wallet yet, Birdman C Rigger?
Yes, I already tried that, and
So we have
whether
no we have no plans of releasing like an Android or iOS wallet, if that's what you're asking. We hope that mobile users can use the web wallet.
oh, okay.
All right, glad we
Understood.
could answer your
Thank you.
question.
So, why you don't try to put it in the Androids? Because
We
uh,
we have
somebody,
we have the capability. It's just it's a lot of work maintaining app store listings, and you got to have certificates, and it's just a distraction for us, especially in this phase of the project. Maybe once we've released technology and we've settled down some into things, we can think about it. But I think right now we're just going to leave the web wallet out there as the use case for mobile devices. So I apologize if that's more inconvenient, but I think it should work well for most everybody on a mobile.
oh, okay, understood. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, thank you for your question. I'm going to move you back to the audience. If anyone else would like to ask you a question, like Burman did, click the icon to raise your hand. And again, there is a text chat associated with this AMA stage. Look for the chat bubble and click that. You can ask questions in text. If we have too long of a lull without a question, we will end this session.
I've got a question for the audience. Do you guys understand what we are doing now any better than you did before you joined this? It seems like a lot of people have a hard time understanding what we're trying to accomplish.
All right. Basil says I do. Chaos 2.0 says yes.
That's what I
And
like to hear.
Kilturio asks, will there be a text summary of the AMA on Twitter or somewhere? Missed most of it.
We're recording this, right? It's going to be on YouTube.
That's right. And we will also have a text version of it that we will translate into different languages and post in the international language channels in our Discord so that those who do not speak or read English will be able to engage with us. We have a few different language channels like Chinese, Turkish, Russian. So we will have a written summary of every question and every answer. Since we're going to do the international languages, we might as well have one for English that we post somewhere too. So yeah, look for that on the Discord, and we'll facilitate that real soon. So Jimmy2957 has the hand raised. I'm going to click invite you to speak. You will see a pop-up. Oh, took it away. Try again if you want to. Looking for another question. Don't see one. All right, I think we should put out a last call for questions. So last call for questions. Raise your hand if you've got one. Type it into the chat if you don't want to raise your hand or you can't. Crypto Life Rocks asks, when is the next AMA? So we haven't talked about it, but this one seems to be going pretty well. And I imagine that once this one is done, we will have a little after action review and establish a timeline for the next one. So TBD. Now, the next question comes from Mr. Jai Gaming, who asked what the next exchange listing after MEXC may be.
I plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth. Yeah, no, we are fundraising for the MEXC listing. It's not going to be completely dependent upon fundraising. We are going to pay a portion of the required expense ourselves, but it's still pretty early in the project, and so it's a great burden to be listed on such an exchange so soon. So for those of you who do use MEXC or want to see AIPG listed on MEXC, contribute toward the cause. And once the public needs are met.
Let me just add to that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Switchgrass. But as far as the MEXC listing, so we do have the money in our up fund to pay for that. We just would rather not liquidate at this low of a price. But if we have to, we will. And if it becomes to the point where MEXC listing really needs to happen, I guess we will. But think about how bullish it would be if we can hang on to this up fund, up into the future where the coin is trading at multiple dollars. I think that will be very bullish for the project in general, and it'll give us a lot of buffer to do a lot of things in the future that we couldn't otherwise do without the funds. So that's kind of where we're at.
And I could see a situation arise where another exchange, not MEXC, may reach out to us and provide us with a really great opportunity to be onboarded. So while MEXC is definitely in the future, it may not be the immediate next exchange, but it's an effort already well underway. So Mr. Jai Gaming asks, possibly tongue-in-cheek, when Binance?
Yeah, I don't know. Is Binance still really popular? We can't even use it in the States anymore. It is still like top 3 exchange, isn't it? Yeah.
So the next question is from Berman to ask, can you please explain one more time what is the mission of AIPG? Which ecosystem are you trying to build?
Which ecosystem?
Yeah.
The mission of AIPG is basically to bridge the gap between the public and open source AI technology. So we're all very passionate about open source AI technology, and we want to bring it to users at large. That's basically what we're doing.
As far as the ecosystem, other than the AIPG ecosystem itself, I know we'll soon have the NFT availability, so hopefully that all answers your question there, Berman. The next question comes from Corazon, who asks, did you search for big investors?
Yeah, I answered that. We're not looking for investors. I mean, we're an open source initiative, or we're based on open source technology. I feel like bringing on private investors and being beholden to some overhead entity would be going against everything we are about.
The next question comes from Analosian, who asks, since based in the US, would there be a possibility of listing on Coinbase?
Yeah, absolutely. I can say we are taking measures to put ourselves in a position to be looked at by those types of exchanges as far as legal and audit requirements. So that's a possibility in the future for sure. But I don't think Coinbase wants, I don't know if they're going to list a project without any real tech or anything. So that would be later this year, for any huge exchange like that. But you never know.
Don't see too much activity in the text chat. I'm going to put out one more last call for questions. We've got one from Mr. Jai Gaming, who asks, what is the percentage of the team holding?
Yeah. So if you took all the emissions we've produced up until, since the Genesis block at the beginning, I'd say the team as a whole holds about 2.5% of the emissions spread out amongst about 9 or 10 people on the team. So it's 10 people now. And some have been here longer than others from the beginning. So that's kind of distributed differently amongst people. But overall, we've used about half of the op fund to pay everybody, averaged out since the beginning.
So Mr. Jai asks, how do you pay the dev? How do you pay the team?
How you pay every day? No, we pay once a month, and each person gets a percentage of the emission so that their salary gets halved along with the halvenings. I'm sure they're not very happy about that at this price, but hey, things will get better.
Oh, he's asking if they get paid money or AIPG.
AIPG, and I do encourage my team to hold. Some people have financial requirements, but I think a lot of people on the team are holding, myself included. And I think Raz even has more coins than the founder myself. So that's criminal.
Yeah, I'm definitely holding. I think it's way too early to cash out, and I definitely am FOMOing. I don't want to miss when AIPG goes up.
None of this is investment advice, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
We're just talking.
It's just how I live my life, man. So
AIPG
next question.
could go to zero for all we know, especially if I keep talking about Cubic in the general. So.
Yeah. So the next question comes from FemDav 2003, who asks, "So what about the marketing plan?"
Yeah, so I'm going to be totally honest. That's one area we've been lacking because we're a team of devs and we're very technical. So from the beginning, we kind of poo-pooed marketing a little bit. I think too much. We should have been more aware of its importance. Again, we don't want to come off as a pure marketing coin or a sham coin or anything that just focuses on marketing constantly. But I think we do need to spend a little time focusing more on the website and general overall marketing. I do have op fund. I could even hire a marketer. I've had countless people reach out to me trying to market for us. I've turned every single one of them down. Yeah, so that's something we're working on right now behind the scenes. We're improving the website. We're going to start marketing more, getting the word out there. If we end up wrapping, that'll be huge marketing by proxy, exchange listings, word of mouth. And I think as we release a product and the AI NFT art gallery, then people are really going to wake up to what we're doing and kind of pile on.
Right. I have a basic understanding that some of the exchanges that AIPG will ultimately be listed on, they may do some marketing on their own once that happens, right?
Yeah, MEXC has a built-in program where they do like a giant airdrop and all kinds of marketing for you when you join. So that would be good too. That's a good point. Yeah, so the MEXC listing, once that happens, will come with it a lot of marketing and stuff too. So
the next question comes from Mr. Jai Gaming, who asks, "Any learning program you'll start in the future for AI?" Well, we've kind of started that with the webinars already, right? We touch on various aspects and the uses of AI, how to configure them.
What was this question again? I was reading the chat.
He's asking if we will have a learning program for the use of AI in the future.
Yeah, so I mean, we will have docs and stuff for developers and users alike, but we hope to curate the experience in such a way that people can kind of come in and use it, and it'll guide them through the process to some extent. And we will have guides and that sort of thing. But we want to make the barrier to entry very low for the average person while still offering a robust, like professional API side. So hopefully that makes sense.
We do also have webinars. There's currently one up on the YouTube channel, and the next one will probably be in a week or two.
So Berman is asking about our ecosystem. So I don't think he fully understands what we're doing. So we're trying to create a broad ecosystem, whereas users or companies or developers can use our image and text generation and workflows and tools to accomplish tasks that they would have otherwise had to have their own hardware for, or rent like a run pod or a vast AI and then set that up from scratch. We're bridging that where we have our own API and they can just plug and play and worry about the app they're developing on or what have you, instead of reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, one simple use case for AI that I've been utilizing is in order to reach out to the international audience that does not speak English. I have been utilizing the AI available through the Discord to communicate and help troubleshoot, etc. If I was using Google Translate or Yandex Translate, it would be an atrocity. the AI available to me as a tool here through the AIPG Discord has facilitated more communication than I can even well describe. And so imagine that you are a business and you have an international consumer base that you need to have effective communication with. AI can fill this role. And if you were using the models available in the future through AIPG, there's one use case for AIPG.
Sounds like that was an effective answer. He says he understands now.
That's good. Couple possibly tongue-in-cheek questions. When podcast?
I'm not going to go into it here, but we're thinking about doing a podcast on open source AI and startup projects, crypto AI projects alike.
It would be nice to be able to coordinate with others in the industry with similar goals and together help facilitate AI's implementation worldwide. It's a big future for AI. It's barely getting started, so we have been talking about a podcast, but nothing certain yet.
And I don't want to distract us from the ultimate goal either. And podcast, is going to obviously take up time, but I think
That's right.
it would also serve the purpose of shining a light on projects and with that AIPG, just listening to us talk and scrutinize other projects or cover other projects. I mean, I don't want to turn it into a trash talking thing. There's a lot of good projects that I'd love to cover. So
The next question comes from Jimmy2957, who asks, how exactly, except for mining, can AIPG be utilized? Are there any apps?
currently, no. I mean, the first app is going to technically be the AI art gallery and NFT marketplace. So we're gonna serve that as almost like a model app that anyone could develop and use our API to create, and then as well as the NFT blockchain integration. So it's going to serve as a model app that any developer or team could create on top of our network or ecosystem.
Now, I would invite anyone who has a private business or a hobby where they sell the product of their efforts and use AIPG, accept AIPG as payment, and in that way, you will help AIPG be more widely accepted. So next question is from Corazon, who asks, so when a business wants to use your AI, will they pay in USD and an amount of that will be by AIPG?
Yeah, so for the pro side, I certainly imagine that we're not going to be paid in AIPG. I know most other services like Chlor and such will take I think Chlor takes Bitcoin and USDT maybe. So we will probably have to use larger currencies for the pro side just because it makes more sense and everyone's used to transacting in those, and it won't cause any liability issues or anything like that. So yeah, that's a very good question. But I think as far as like the user side and the more casual generative AI side, we do target using AIPG as the payment method.
Next question comes from Chaos 2.0, who asks, what can we do to help your Epic project be successful?
I would say just support us, continue to try to understand what we're doing as we continue to try to explain it better. I'm working on a new white paper right now. I mean, it's all the same things we've talked about in the original white paper, just expounding on exactly what we're doing and how it's going to work and that sort of thing. So yeah, just support us. I'm not going to say by AIPG, but I see Mr. Jai did. Thank you, Mr. Jai. So support us, hang out in the channel, learn more. We'll learn along with you, and I mean, I love the support. I love having everybody. It's been great. The crypto community is great as a whole. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, there's power in word of mouth advertising. If you like AIPG, tell your friends about it. The next question is from Mr. Deng. Do you have any upcoming partnerships?
No, aside from exchange partnerships, I would say no. But we're always looking, always interested.
Oh, Analosian asked something, but I missed the question above. Sorry about that. Let's see. That question is, with the general public and even Elon Musk's recent concerns regarding possibilities of AI troubles, think the movie Terminator, do you have any plans on putting a cap or kill switch on your AI tech if it came down to it?
Well, that's a good question. So that's going to be a force that we're always battling with, is the fear, basically the FUD around AI in general. A lot of people on the street think that we're close to like Skynet, Terminator, AI taking over the world. In reality, AI is just a tool. It's going to remain a tool for at least the next decade or two in my mind. A very sophisticated tool, but still just a tool. So I want to fight against that mentality, actually, that AI is going to take over the world. It must be censored. It must be guardrailed. I think we're kind of opposing that view. And I think that's an alarmist view that should be reasoned with.
All right, folks. Well, we've definitely overshot our time, so this will be the final call for last questions. If anyone wants to ask a question via voice, there's a button to click to raise your hand. You would click that. I would bump you up here. You would hit accept. Or use the text chat on the right. All right, let's add a popcorn timer. We got about 2 minutes. 2 minutes for questions. And then that'll be it. I'd like to thank everybody again for joining us here today. Your questions have been very engaging, and I know that everyone here, I can speak for and say that we all appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your time today, everybody. I really appreciate the support. Really appreciate all the viewers showing up today. Hope everybody has a good weekend and have a good one.